Hello friends, it's 7:30 p.m. and you are tuned to the General Overseas Service of All India Radio, the voice of the nation. We are here with news, views, celebrity endorsements, write-ups, videos, vox pop, tips of the day and music for your listening pleasure. So happy tuning in.
Hi friends, let me give you some practical tips to look after your mental health during this particular time. Get the right information, because when you have information, you tend not to get afraid and not to panic. Be positive. Most people will recover from this. Keep yourself busy during self-isolation. Have a proper routine. Sleep well, eat well, get adequate exercise. Do something to calm your mind like yoga, deep breathing and so on. Reach out to friends. Develop a hobby, painting, singing, rangoli, anything like that. Of course, reach out to others who need help. The elderly, the poor, these are people who can do with your help. Avoid alcohol, drugs of any kind which are not prescribed, as well as tobacco. And finally, be happy, be safe, and be sensible. Thank you.
Being who you truly are helps you feel more alive and makes your experience of life richer, larger, and more exciting. Now that you're convinced that self-knowledge is worth having, we'll move on to those vital signs of self-knowledge. The building blocks of self, your vitals. The capital letters in VITALS, signs from an acronym for the 6 building blocks of self, or vitals for short. The letters stand for values, interests, temperament, round the clock, life mission, and goals and strengths and skills. We take up each one by one for a better reminder and understanding of ourselves. In today's episode, it's V for values. Values such as helping others, being creative, health, financial security, and so on are guides to decision making and motivators for goals. Many researchers show that just thinking or writing about your values can make it even more likely that you take healthy actions. Values are qualities that one considers to be worthwhile and as such act as a driving force in our lives. Some of us are born with certain values, some acquire from the surroundings. Values are also developed in several ways through your upbringing and living situations. Education also has a big impact on each one's value system, as it sensitizes you with knowledge and then in turn develops values in you. So does your work experience. Influence of others also plays a big role in impacting your value system. You just may idolize in a parent, person, a hero, a saint, making you who you are and how you behave. It is important for people to realize that values must be given the topmost priority in life. Values of moral and ethical principles, respect, love, friendship, harmony, honesty, and freedom. Therefore, it is important for each person to have personal values and ethical guidelines which are morally right. Prasar Bharati, in collaboration with National Book Trust India, presents Story Lounge on All India Radio.
Contrary to popular perception, reading habits are not on the wane due to multiple sources of information emerging on digital platforms. Yet, book publishing is on a downslide. This ultimately affects people who are on the wrong side of the digital divide and cannot afford new gadgets. To support them, Prasar Bharati and National Book Trust have come together to promote books over the radio, which is an affordable medium, in the context of our socio-economic milieu.
Today's story is taken from the collection of fascinating tales from the world of medicine, entitled The Magical Needles, written by Dr. Yatish and Dr. Rekha Agarwal and narrated by Usha Chhabra.
Dear kids, I am Usha Chhabra, a teacher and a storyteller. I love to read books and tell stories to kids. So today I have got the book The Magical Needles and Other Stories, and from there I am going to read a story, The Magical Needles, written by Dr. Yatish Agarwal and Dr. Rekha Agarwal, which is translated by Madhu Sharma. The illustrations are made by Mishtuni Chaudhary, and it is a book from Nehru Bal Pustakalay. So here the story goes. The air was intoxicated with the sense of festivity. It was Dashera. While everybody was busy celebrating the victory of good over evil, Ira had another reason to kick up her heels. It was like a ritual. She would spend her Dashera holidays with her Dada and Dadi in Chandanpur, away from hustle and bustle of the city. She loved spending time with them as both doted on her. Dadi would make her besan ka halwa, laddus, knit sweaters and play chess with her. Baba, means Dada, would take her for long walks. On the way, he would narrate her captivating and enchanting stories and would quench her curiosity by answering her unending questions. Time would simply fly past. Baba was one of the most reputed doctors in Chandanpur. The infinite knowledge that lay hidden within him could be credited to his passion for learning. Otherwise quiet, the home was full of life. The day was about to end, but Ira's excitement refused to die down as it was her first day in Chandanpur. She and Dadima buried themselves in the newspaper trying to solve the crossword in the living room. As the clock struck 9, Baba switched on the television to watch news. After a while, some perplexing and intriguing shots flashed on the screen, which attracted Ira's attention. It was a news about the ongoing conference on acupuncture, a form of alternative medicine used for pain and relief. While the patients were lying on the bed, they had 3 inches long, ultrafine stainless steel needles pierced into their ears, in another one's face and in someone's back and knees. Surprisingly, there wasn't a slightest trace of pain on their faces. Suddenly, the electricity went off. The news piqued Ira's curiosity about the amazing science. Needles for healing. Baba, I have never heard about this earlier. Is it a new way of treatment? She inquired. Baba smiled. No, Ira, acupuncture therapy is an 8,000 years old science which originated in China. The therapy has its own interesting story which led to its birth. 8,000 years old system of healing? Ira jumped with excitement. Baba knew what Ira would ask for. So, without any delay, he began narrating the story. China was not an authoritarian country or was not governed by single administration, but was divided into varied tribes during that era. Petty fights would often become a matter of pride, leading to a battle among these tribes. Ira, people in the primitive age used weapons like spears and arrows. Really, Baba? Were they similar to the ones that we saw on History Channel the last time I visited Chandanpur? After a pause, Ira continued. And if I'm not wrong, even the Ramayana and Mahabharata battles were fought with spears and arrows. Yes, dear, it was an era of bows and arrows, spears and maces. Besides, in those days, priests used to treat people. A clan of priests held the responsibility of nursing and tending wounded warriors of the tribe. They would dress and bind them, raise their spirits, and would listen to their experiences. During the process, warriors would reveal several amazing experiences. Like after an arrow had pierced in one of the warrior's foot in the battle, the chronic headache he had been suffering from years had miraculously disappeared. Another narrated how his sinusitis vanished overnight after the tip of a spear had pierced the back of his knee. Really? Astonished, Ira asked. Yes, Ira. When the priests repeatedly heard such experiences of the warriors, they tried stringing them together into a cord. Gradually, on compiling numerous experiences, priests identified 160 acupuncture points on the body, which when pierced with the needles could be very effective in affecting the internal organs and ultimately help in treating illnesses. It was a miraculous discovery, Baba. Well, did stainless steel needles existed in those times as well? No, Ira. Initially, pointed stones were used. Later, the bones of big animals were sculpted and these bone slivers were brought into use. Besides, some people carved out bamboo stalks and chiseled them into bamboo slivers. Soon, metals replaced bones and bamboo. Several ancient gold, silver, and copper needles had been found in archaeological excavations in China. You would be surprised to know that some of them are more than 2000 years old. While Ira was hanging on to each and every word Baba uttered, her subconscious mind thought about things mankind can learn from the past. She was all set to know and capture more. Binding their experiences with knowledge, Chinese physicians readied a chart of meridians and acupressure points on the body. They found numerous pressure points on the ears and feet, which directly connected to the body organs. With time, the know-how about the science increased. Priests gradually realized that it was not enough to pierce a patient with needles just once for uprooting ailments. Only after assessing the seriousness of the disorder, the number of times a patient would have to come for treatment could be determined. While some could get relief within 15 to 20 times, whereas others had to visit the priest more than 30 times. Acupuncture kept flourishing and thriving in China. It became an indispensable part of ancient Chinese medicine. The beneficial efforts of acupuncture reached every corner of the world, just as openness marked China's attitude towards international relations. It reached the world after Richard Nixon, the President of America, visited China in 1972. The accompanying journalists reported about the incredible science. The reports created the much needed furor. Special needles made of long, ultra-fine stainless steel began to be made to administer acupuncture for patients. Doctors began paying attention to the fact that needles should be pre-sterilized and made completely safe before use. Disposable needles meant to be used just only once came into existence. It was absolutely necessary for these precautions to be taken so that the needles would not lead to any sort of infection in a patient's body. Ira had all her ears to what Baba had to say. As soon as he mentioned long, ultrafine stainless steel needles, the scenes of acupuncture which had been telecast on television a short while ago crossed her mind. Suddenly, she interrupted Baba and asked, Baba, how does acupuncture function in our body? Do you know about its pain-killing secret as well? There is a lot of research being done in the field. Biologists have even investigated its various effects on the body. There exist two schools of thought to understand the unique qualities of this therapy. If we go by the old Chinese school of thought, there is a divine life force, Qi, flowing through our body, which circulates through our body all the time. Its chakra or energy center passes through all the cells, tissues, organs and systems of our body. This life force flows only over the surface of the body. The Chinese believe that being healthy or unhealthy depends on the simple flow of Qi. If the natural flow of Qi stops at some point, then some or the other organ of our body becomes affected. This is a complete philosophy by itself, Baba. Yes, Ira. There is another principle that is linked to this ancient Chinese school of thought, which says that Qi is governed by two opposing forces, Yang and Yin. Yang is the positive force, whereas Yin denotes the negative force. Our well-being depends on the balance maintained between these two forces. If one becomes weak, the other gets powerful, and this causes our body to fall ill. According to this ancient Chinese school of thought, there is a direct connection between acupuncture points mapped out over the surface of our body and the internal organs of our body. By piercing these acupuncture points with needles, there is an improvement in the flow of Qi and the imbalance between Yang and Yin gets corrected. This cures the ailment. How wonderful, Baba! And which is the second school of thought? Ever since the therapy of acupuncture has reached America and Europe, different kinds of scientific research and experiments are being carried out on it. Several amazing facts about this method of treatment have come to light. What are they, Baba? Ira immediately asked. My child, on carrying out various scientific researches, it was found that the population of lymphocytes coursing through our blood increases with this treatment. Lymphocytes, a type of white blood corpuscles, are the soldiers of our body which protect us. This means that acupuncture awakens fresh self-healing capabilities of our immune system, which then bolster our energy and resistance to diseases. Great! This information is very useful, Baba. Ira, scientists have unveiled the secret as to how acupuncture relieves pain. It has been found that on getting acupuncture done, endorphins, a class of biochemicals, are released in a man's brain and spinal cord. These natural pain-killing hormones work like morphine. The moment they are released by the body, one gets relief from excruciating pain. Before Ira could shoot out another question, Dadi intervened, rebuking Dada. How long do you plan to continue chatting? Let her go off to sleep. It had been a long journey for her today. Go, Ira, take some rest. Come, dear, let's doze off now, or else you know it all. Baba couldn't stop laughing while Ira could be heard giggling too.
You were listening to Story Lounge, produced by the World Service of All India Radio on behalf of Prasar Bharati in association with the National Book Trust, India.
Story Launch comes to you every day, same time, same channel.
खुशियों से भरा था बीता कल, हर पल रहती थी चहल पहल। अब कैद हुए हैं हम, ये मत सोचो, संयम रखो हालात को मत कोसो। हम मिलके इस आफत को हराएंगे, हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे, हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे। हम जिंदगी का जश्न फिर मनाएंगे, हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे, हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे। हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे, 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 हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे। हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे, 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 हम नई सुबह फिर लाएंगे।
This is the General Overseas Service of All India Radio. The news read by Maria Albina Michael. Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison on Friday hinted at the return of up to 10,000 spectators at sporting venues from July as the country races against time to be ready for the T20 World Cup in October-November and eagerly awaits a test series against India after that. The International Cricket Council is likely to decide the fate of the World Cup next month. The 16-team tournament is in serious doubt due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The test series against India is scheduled in December. Morrison said initially stadiums with a capacity below 40,000 will be allowed to house up to 10,000 fans, leaving out iconic cricket grounds like MCG, SCG, and Adelaide Oval. Twitter has removed a vast network of accounts that it says is linked to the Chinese government and were pushing false information favorable to the country's communist rulers. Beijing denied involvement on Friday and said the company should instead take down accounts smearing China. The U.S. social media company suspended 23,750 accounts that were posting pro-Beijing narratives and another 150,000 accounts dedicated to retweeting and amplifying those messages. The network was engaged in a range of coordinated and manipulated activities in predominantly Chinese languages, including praise for China's response to the coronavirus pandemic and deceptive narratives about Hong Kong's pro-democracy protests, the company said. In the United Arab Emirates, Ministry of Health and Prevention, MOHAP, yesterday announced 513 new COVID-19 cases in the country and also noted an additional 712 individuals had fully recovered from the infection, bringing the total number of recoveries to 25,946. The total number of cases in UAE now stands at 41,499. The ministry also announced one death as a result of COVID-19 complications. It added that the total number of deaths in the country has reached 287. In Saudi Arabia, the Ministry of Health in a statement said that the tally of confirmed cases of novel coronavirus in the kingdom rose to 119,943 cases as 3,921 new cases were reported. The death toll in the kingdom went up to 893 as 36 new fatalities were reported. Majority of the new cases were detected in the city of Riyadh, followed by Jeddah and Mecca. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday showed up at a ceremony marking the national holiday, the first big public event he has attended since announcing a nationwide lockdown more than 2 months ago. Putin observed the hoisting of the national flag at a memorial park in western Moscow and then took part in an award ceremony. He was not wearing a mask, and neither did most of those he awarded with Hero of Russia medals. Putin pointed at the nation's 1,000-year history full of pages of great glory and pride, the unrivaled bravery of our ancestors and their love for their country. He particularly hailed medical workers in his speech, praising their courage and self-sacrifice. A bomb exploded on Friday inside a mosque in western Kabul, killing at least 4 people, including the prayer leader, and wounding 8, an Afghan government official said. Interior Ministry spokesman Tariq Aryan said the bomb had been placed inside the mosque but had no additional details. Police cordoned off the area and helped move the wounded to ambulances and nearby hospitals. No one took immediate responsibility, but a mosque attack earlier this month was claimed by the Islamic State group's affiliate. The Taliban issued a statement condemning the attack and calling the death of the prayer leader a great crime. Nepal on Friday reported its highest single-day spike in COVID-19 cases with 448 new infections, taking the country's total virus count to over 5,000. According to the Ministry of Health, the new cases include 24 women, 16 coronavirus patients, including 4 women, were discharged on Friday. The total number of discharged people is 877, including 91 women. With the new cases, the highest single-day spike, the total number of cases stands at 5,062, with 16 deaths, the ministry said. India on Friday reiterated its commitment to partnering Tanzania in its development journey. Prime Minister Narendra Modi assured this to Tanzanian President Dr. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli. Prime Minister warmly recalled his July 2000 visit to Dar es Salaam and stressed on the importance that India attaches to its traditionally friendly ties with Tanzania during a telephonic talk with Dr. Magufuli. The Prime Minister thanked President Dr. Magufuli for the assistance provided by the Tanzanian authorities for evacuation of Indian citizens from Tanzania in the wake of COVID-19. The leaders reviewed the overall bilateral relationship. They expressed satisfaction at the growing development partnership, educational linkages, and trade and investment flows between India and Tanzania, and discussed possibilities of further accelerating these trends. 2 militants were killed in an encounter with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Kulgam district in the early hours of Saturday, police said. Security forces launched a cordon and search operation in the Nipora area of Kulgam in South Kashmir, following specific information about the presence of militants there, a police official said. He said the search operation turned into an encounter after militants fired at security forces who retaliated. In the ensuing gunfight, 2 militants were killed, the official said. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Friday spoke on phone with Prime Minister of Laos, People's Democratic Republic, PDR, Dr. Thongloun Sisoulith. The 2 leaders exchanged views on the health and economic challenges posed by the global COVID-19 pandemic. The Prime Minister commended the effective measures undertaken by the government of Laos, PDR, to contain the spread of the pandemic in Laos. Both leaders agreed on the need for international cooperation and for sharing of best practices and experiences in order to prepare for the post-COVID world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will interact with the Chief Ministers of all states and union territories on 16th and 17th of June at 3 p.m. He will interact with them through video conferencing. On 16 June, the Prime Minister will interact with 21 states and union territories, and the next day Mr. Modi will interact with 15 states and union territories. The meeting assumes significance in the wake of the rising number of coronavirus cases in the country. This will be the 6th meeting of the Prime Minister with the Chief Ministers since the announcement of the nationwide lockdown in March. Under Unlock 1.0, the centre and state governments have eased several restrictions for the convenience of public and businesses to ensure that economic activities gather momentum. And that is the end of the news bulletin.